2.3. The 10 Laws of Evolution describe the sequence of rules of the Psychosomatic Control Code of Evolution, PCCE. Please refer to Chapter 13 for a detailed description of these 10 Laws of Evolution. 2.4. The Psychosomatic Control Code of Evolution, PCCE, is an automated process. The following flowchart shows how the subconscious mind automatically deals with a new or changed situation, evolutionary situation adaptation diagram. New situation or changed situation without stress. The subconscious mind observes and controls whether the person's environment changes. This can be a complete change in the situation, a completely new situation, or even minor changes within a known situation. Even the slightest changes can be indicators of danger. Any strain, stress that triggers pain avoidance behavior is classified as a danger. Accordingly, there are many different levels of danger, which can be described from very low to life-threatening. These danger levels directly influence the person's stress reactions. When the subconscious perceives a possible danger, it automatically activates the PCCE to help the person avoid or adapt to the situation. Depending on the severity of the threat, different stress reactions are triggered to help the person survive or cope with the situation. The subconscious mind has to figure out how to deal with new or changed situations in order to develop automatisms that help the person to be easier and faster in future decision-making processes. Green square, new situation or changed situation. A situation is fundamentally divided into two categories. Yellow circle, stress. 1. Situations that trigger a stress load, and 2. Situations that do not trigger a stress load. This classification depends on the individual's experience and evaluation. If an individual has had positive experiences in a certain situation in the past, he is likely to evaluate the situation as positive and not trigger a stress load. In contrast, the same situation may trigger negative experiences in another individual, and thus constitute a stress load. The subconscious evaluates the situations and reacts accordingly, either by avoiding or adapting to the situation in order to achieve an avoidance of the stress load. If the new or changed situation is stress-free, yellow circle, situation new, then the solution-finding function of the subconscious is called upon, see Chapter 14:06. In this case, the subconscious informs the conscious about the solution, found in the form of thoughts, feelings, and ideas. The person can then consciously decide whether or not to accept this solution. The subconscious mind plays an important role in coping with new or changed situations. By activating the solution-finding function, it then communicates the result of its considerations and solutions to the person's consciousness so that the person can make a conscious decision. However, it is important to note that the subconscious mind does not necessarily hold the perfect solution for every situation, but is constantly learning and adapting to more effectively deal with future challenges. The solution-finding function is discussed in more detail in Chapter 13, in the section Solution-Finding Function. If the new situation does not contain any stress, and it is a known situation, then we follow the path No in the flowchart. In this case, already existing patterns of action are called up. These patterns of action were formed in the past under the influence of the 10 Laws of Evolution, and already existing protective programs, and have already limited permanently applicable patterns of action when they were formed. These already established patterns of action are carried out automatically without the conscious mind having to intervene. This is a part of the subconscious mind that usually makes us react unconsciously when we are confronted with certain situations that we have experienced many times before. In this way, the subconscious can speed up and automate a person's actions to save time and energy that would otherwise be needed for conscious deliberation and decision-making. It is well known that people tend to stick to their old patterns of behavior, but through conscious effort and training, they may be able to change them and develop new patterns of behavior. Brief summary. The subconscious mind observes and monitors changes in the person's environment to detect indicators of danger. Dangers can trigger stress, from minor to life-threatening. The subconscious activates the PCCE to help people avoid or adapt to the situation. The stress response depends on the severity of the threat. The subconscious mind develops automaticity to make decisions more easily and quickly in the future. Situations are divided into two categories: stressful and non-stressful situations. The evaluation depends on the experiences and assessment of the individual. The subconscious evaluates the situations and reacts either by avoiding or adapting. If the situation is new and stress-free, the subconscious activates the solution-finding function and informs the conscious mind of the solution found. The subconscious mind has an important role in coping with new or changed situations by finding solutions and communicating with the conscious mind. It is important to note that the subconscious mind does not always have the perfect solution ready, but is constantly learning and adapting. An old situation or changed known situation with stress without repression. If a situation contains a stress load, trauma, the flowchart evolutionary situation adaptation is automatically triggered. The subconscious divides a situation into two categories: situations that trigger stress and situations that do not trigger stress. Yellow circle, stress. This classification is based on previous experiences and memories and can change over time as new experiences are made. A situation that is perceived as stressful can lead to a reaction of the body known as evolutionary situational adaptation, also known as the fight or flight response. This response is controlled by the part of the brain responsible for instinctive survival responses and can cause the heart to beat faster, breathing to quicken and adrenaline to be released. In this case, the answer to the question of whether stress was present in the situation was a yes. When a new or changed situation involves stress, the test is whether the situation is new or old and familiar. In this case, the answer was no, the situation was not new. If the stressful situation is old, yellow circle, situation new, no. The subconscious checks whether the situation has already been repressed or blocked, yellow circle, situation repressed. The answer in this case was no. If the stressful situation is old and has not been repressed or blocked, the solution-finding function of the subconscious is called upon. If a situation is classified as stressful and is known, but also has not been repressed or blocked, then the subconscious can activate its solution-finding function to find a solution to the situation. It should be noted that this is a simplistic process and that the subconscious mind's response to stressful situations can be complex and varied, depending on many different factors, including personality, experience, and current emotional and physical state. If the solution found by the solution-finding function triggers stress in the person, it is usually consciously rejected because the person does not want to suffer if he can avoid it. The person's behavior pattern remains unchanged. In such cases, however, there may be other reasons why a person rejects a solution, such as fear of change, lack of confidence in their abilities, lack of resources, or lack of support. It should be noted, however, that a rejection of a solution does not necessarily mean that the behavior pattern remains unchanged. A person may continue to look for other solutions and change over time. Change is a process that takes time and effort to change old behavior patterns. If the solution found does not trigger any stress in the person, it is usually consciously accepted and consciously implemented in life. The person's behavioral program is adapted. An old situation or changed known situation with stress with repression blockade. The situation involves a stress load, trauma. Yes, then the flowchart evolutionary situation adaptation starts automatically. Is the situation new? No. Is the situation repressed? Blocked? Yes. First possibility. The subconscious calls up the solution-finding function because the stress of the old blocked trauma has been awakened. The evolutionary programs want to protect the person from stress and look for solutions. The subconscious strives to protect the person from stress, and the solution-finding function is activated to find solutions to stressful situations. It should be noted that the subconscious mind does not always find the best solutions, and it is possible that the solutions it finds are not always the preferred ones or do not work for the person. When trauma has been repressed and blocked, it activates the first law of evolution programs. The person must avoid the situation, and accordingly the solution-finding functions in this situation may only form stronger avoidance patterns to further avoid the situation. The person only notices that his psychosomatic stresses in life are getting stronger and appearing in more and more situations. The results of the solution-finding function are automatically integrated into our lives by the subconscious via our evolutionary adaptation programs, similar to a newborn baby. Please read the newborn baby example in the appendix. The best solution for the person is found based on his inner values and momentary possibilities. However, the 10 laws of evolution set the limits for the possible outcomes.